Hello everybody. How is everyone doing? Let's just make sure, so I've had a bit of a revamp. Let's make sure the alerts are working. Yep, that's all good. Nice one. Maybe turn on this version, properties. Or I could go maybe, let's add in browser alert. Now if I do that, it might not say it twice. Nice, didn't do it twice. So thank you, Noor. Baraka, that's a sick name. That's a really cool name. I like your name. For the subscribe, so that was the most recent one. That was a couple hours ago. So, but now that's all working. So, and now I've got recent sub in the top left too. So we're rendering a thermostat. Simple product. Simple project. These are the ones I like to do YouTube guides for. YouTube, not guide. This is a guide. It's a walkthrough. It's a live stream. I think these can be quite useful for some people as they watch through and pick up any techniques that I use within my work. I think it'd be useful to some people. I am going to open the window slightly. And then also I'm going to check that the audio is all good too. Let me check that now. Is the audio good? And then also I'm going to check that the audio is all good too. Let me check that now. I'll pop out chat, put the audio there. And then also I'm going to check that the audio is good too. Let me check that now. Pop out chat. Go along, no problem. Okay. Live stream. Put that there. Shift U on that. Go that. I don't think I need that open. Open there. I need that open. Need that open. Okay, just setting everything up now. Okay. Okay, we're all good. Let's get started. So, taking a look at the product now. So, make sure that's working. Oh, you know what I want to do as well. Stream. Let me check if the chat's working. It is indeed. There you go. So put that there. Probably wondering what's going on. Okay, let's begin. So, like I mentioned before, thermostat. So, here's the product. So, we also have technical drawings, which are super useful, with dimensions, which I will use to model. We have an original render, which I'm going to get up now, to reference off. I only need one render so far. Current plan is just the one. We're going to do this together, and we're going to take our time and do it right first time. So let's get our original render up, which we want an improvement on, and this also shows the old. It's not too bad of a render, I guess. It's alright, it's pretty good, it's okay. It's not mine though, this is someone else's. Okay. So this is the old one, so something similar to this. Similar-ish to this. But new version. Improved, and obviously the new style that they have. Okay, so let's start off with the technical drawings up. We're going to use them mostly for the design. We've got 85 meters wide, 85 millimeters tall, 13.3 the base model. So if you're wondering, the reference images are down below. They're right here. A bit bigger so you can see them better. Yep. Okay, so let's go. First of all, let's make a cube. Let's go into this modeling tab. If you press this one here, you can press measurement and edge select, and that way we can start measuring our we can make sure that the dimensions are completely correct. Might as well, they've given us a dimensions, so it's always a good idea when you're doing product rendering or rendering of any sort with the client that you ask if they have the physical dimensions of the product first. That way you can make sure that everything is accurate. Scaling is very important. It can make the object, it can make the product not look like it's supposed to if even the slightest bit of scaling is off. And you don't want to mislead consumers either. You want to make sure everything's as accurate as possible. So, trying to remember, I think it's this one. Which one is it? I haven't done this one. This specific one of these here. Units. Okay, this one. So the little drop icon, which is just seen in properties, go into units, and you can change if you want from metric to imperial or whatever. But we're going to do length and millimeters. Now I'll get edit mode, so you've got the exact millimeters. And we can see from here it's 85.9 millimeters wide and 85.9 millimeters tall. So we're going to need to scale that correctly. So let's go into the 1 on the number keypad to go in the front view. wireframe to make sure it's select both sides. And obviously it's going to be a lot smaller than intended, but then what we'll do is we will scale it up again later anyway. It's going to look something like this. Object set origin geometry to origin. So right now this is 63 millimeters, so 70, 80, and we need 85.9. This is a good way to make sure the scale is 85.9. And then the same with this length here. It needs to be 89, 85.9. Now you can see 85.9, 85.9, 85.9, 85.9. Now obviously the length is completely off, and the depth, so 13.3. So going to the top view. Let's move this up. Wireframe 1 on the keyboard for the edit mode of the vertice. And let's select these vertices here, drag them down, and then we're going to do these two here. So at the moment we're at 56.4. So let's get this one. I'm going to 13.3. And then E to extrude this face. Let's redo that. To 31.9. 31.9, 13.3, 85.9. Together that does make, well, the depth is 13.3. So this is the perfect shape now. And this, we're going to rename this dimensions. We're going to rename our collection product. Always important to name your scene collections and things. Okay, so dimensions, right? So now we know this is the perfect size in terms of an area of what our product is going to be. So we're going to object, so object geometry, the other one, origin geometry. Set our that will set our origin to the middle of our geometry, meaning we can scale it up and it won't move anywhere we don't want it to. And we'll just scale up to a decent size, a more workable size, about here. But we know it's the exact same shape as it was before. And I'm just going to leave this as our dimension checker, so we'll always go back to this and make sure that dimensions are the same as this. So now what we want to do is, what's going on, man? How you doing? Let me make sure we can read that. Hello. Hello. How are we doing? Hope you're doing well. How do I pronounce your name in correctly, let's say? And how are you doing? Hope you're doing amazing. I'm doing pretty well myself. Today we're making a thermostat, as the title explains, and we've got the references in the bottom right. And so far we've just made sure that our dimensions are correct. This is very important for product rendering. We need to make sure that the dimensions are correct. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make basically a copy of this. So I can Shift D to copy it, and we're going to call this the product. And now we're going to get to work with sort of baseline modeling, making sure shapes in general shapes are correct and everything. So we're going to get our reference images up here. We're going to use the drawing version because that tends to be easier to copy. And we're going to take a look at like I said, immediately let's get down the shape first. I want to be able to read the chat. There we go. Pop it out. Read the chat. Hello. Boom, boom, boom. As well as look at my reference images. I need 3 monitors now. I never thought I would need it, but apparently I do. One for my stream stuff, one for reference images, one for actual Blender. Okay, perfect. That's a perfect setup. I can see chat. I can see subscriptions and stuff. I can't see how many current reviews we got, but that doesn't matter. I don't need to know that. I just need to see what you guys are saying. Feel free to ask any questions about Blender or product modeling specifically, yeah, come chill out. So let's get the general shape correct first. So this is the line we're going to spin this round so that it is matching my reference image. As you can see from the reference image, I'm copying this one for the general shape, and I want it to match. So this line here is that, as we already recorded, the first line. It doesn't actually have the dimensions of how far in the edges, so we're just gonna have to guess. We'll press Control R. I'm just gonna guess. Let's say the whole thing's 85 millimeters. Let's go with around 20 for now. Holding Shift to get more accurate. Let's guess around there. What's up, man? That's super cool. What time is it in Russia? What is it? 3 hours from the UK? How's your day going? Okay, so so from here we can connect these vertices holding Shift and pressing F, and then we're going to box up these holes as well, holding Shift on all these edges, edit mode and 2 for the edge select mode, and pressing F. And now we have very much more of the shape, the general shape that we're looking for. These need to go in a little bit, so wireframe mode to make sure we're selecting both edges. If you're not in wireframe mode, you will only select the top one. We don't want that at all. We need to be in wireframe mode, and we're going to select both of these, and we're going to press scale in very slightly. You can see from the reference image, it does scale in very slightly. Now, one other thing too is that if I go into the side view, I can see from here that also we don't have dimensions for this. We're gonna have to eyeball it, but there's an edge here, so Control R here. Again, a bit of an eyeball here. As we delete these bottom edges, box up, connecting with F. F is the baseline, while hard surface modeling at least. It's a good tool to use. Just F on the keyboard stands for fill, as you fill in any gaps that there are. So just make sure, let's say this face here, you can go this face and press F, but sometimes depending on how complex your model is, this can cause problems. So instead you want to edge select all the faces needed to add a fill, F for fill, press F on the keyboard and fill in the gaps right there. We're going to turn off our, go into this tab here and turn off our edge length measurement now. We don't need that anymore. So now you can see, using the original dimensions of what we had originally, of the general baseline area, we've now duplicated the model and we've added in basic shapes of where everything is, where everything would be. So added in this small box on the on the back side of the thermostat, but the general shape, as you can see, scale is the exact same still. Now, before I complicate the model too much, this is a very good piece of advice that I've learned doing modeling like this, is that you want to actually add your UV seams if you're going to be adding labels or materials, textures to your model, before you overcomplicate the model with vertices, edges and geometry. If you leave it for afterwards, you'll find yourself creating this really nice detailed model with good topology and everything, I hope. But then you'll be like, oh, I need to add UV mapping, I need to add some seams. I've just got all these, I've added edge loops here and edge loops here, and I've done all this, and now it's quite hard to find where the actual edge is going to be for the label, for the geometry, for the UV mapping, which I've done a YouTube short on if you want to check that out down below. Little plug there. Just a little 1 minute short explaining how they work. So as mentioned, I'm actually just gonna do UV sphere, all UV seams all the way down there, and now on a much simpler level, we've very nicely added seams for our UV editing later. So it basically just made our life a lot easier. Now the model actually has a few complex areas, as you can see from the back side. Now for the render that we're doing, we don't need to render this back. The client's asked for one render and it's a forward facing, so we don't actually need to render. There's no point doing work that you don't need to. If the client asks for a back photos later, then we will model it. So what we'll do is we'll have this general shape, but these features here with the pinholes and the holes where it looks like a plug or pins going, we're just going to avoid them. We're just going to ignore them. We don't need to do that at all. So looking in from the back view, we're going to select these edges. We're going to scale them down because there is a bit of a downscaling, bit of a slope in the original, and that's all we need to do for that. So one thing as well I can see from here, so obviously we have this face here, which would be our screen. So I want to select all of these and press mark seam, and I would go into the front view, select all of these vertices, scale them. Now let's be careful here because we don't want to end up scaling them the wrong way. So I'd scale them out, then upwards, across, like that-ish. Okay, nice. We are getting there. Like I said, when modeling, very important to make sure that you get the basic shapes down first, then worry about details. And the basic shapes aren't there, and the basic UV mapping isn't there, and then you start working too much on details, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation later on. So make sure we save your project, always important. So we go down to where we are, thermostat, and we should call it thermostat.blend. There we go. So let's have a look at our reference images again. I want to see more of a side-on view, and I'm actually missing one render, so let's go and find that. We're missing one of the side views. I want that. I want always try to get as many reference images as you can for the product. You don't want to sell yourself short with misinformation. So for top view as well, here's the other view I wanted. Save image. So image 6. Okay, so as you can see, we have some, I guess you would call them little slits, little cuts in the side. Just looking at the details, so we've got these sections, these buttons here. We've got the touch screen. We've got a slight extrusion going on around the edge. On the back, we have, like I said, this star, but we don't have to render this. Best thing we could probably do is just do the shape and maybe these little cuts. But apart from that, that's not important at all. Neither is this back plate here with the cuts in here. Not going to see that in the render. There's no point doing more work than you need to. And then we've got these slits on the backs here. And on the top, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slits. A little hole there too. So let's first of all do the little extrusion. So I Control R to add a edge. Where is the extrusion? Let's have a look. So it's coming out from actually there. So instead, what we want to do is Control R. Add one here, 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 and here. Straighten them up a little bit. Now the reason I like this format, live streaming projects, is because you run along with me with all the problems that we have along the way. And it gives people who are getting into Blender and getting into 3D modeling the right impression that not everything goes well, first of all. In reality, things really don't most of the time, and your first idea is not always what works. If you just do a YouTube guide, obviously you're showing them what has worked, you can give the impression people that, and that I am all for, guys. I think they're a great thing. But sometimes this format is good as well as giving off as regular guides where you're showing someone, you know, what's actually worked. So being very careful with what I select here. I want to change some of the dimensions slightly. So, someone asked recently on one of my videos about commission-based work. So, paid information. Now, to clear that up, there's something that I want to do, but not right now. This channel, I want it to be a source of free content for anyone looking to get into Blender, and then in the future probably expand to other software as well in all forms, but Blender mostly. I do have plans to set up commission-based paid services, but not right now. And also, I'd want to set things up more properly in a way that I have an idea to create a website where people can, a platform more than a website, where people can get online courses qualified in 3D rendering, in 3D work, in digital work, they can put on their CVs. It can be qualified properly, made by super professionals. I'll help out with the Blender one, but I want to make for other software too, but Blender's always the starting one because that's the software that I use personally. Get professionals in to make courses and at a reasonable price, so people can go on there if they want to as an optional and really get dig extremely deep into learning the software as well as other softwares, digital ones, and to come out with a qualification that they can use and show to employees, and put on their CVs and things in their portfolios as an option. But then the YouTubers will always be there as free content, to the point where if you just want to learn Blender and you want to learn other softwares and you don't want to pay a penny, you can watch all the YouTube guides and self-teach yourself. But if you want to go basically get a fast track, or maybe just learn even more, just every single ounce, the paid option is there. But I mean, I've always just learned off YouTube guides, and I think it's great. Okay, into there. Let's make sure these are sort of the right size. So I can see from here take these edges here down. I also want to take these ones, control. Shift plus is what I'm doing when I do that. So I select these vertices, press Shift plus, right? And that brings up the tool. Oh. Right, we're back. Shift. Where's just plus? I don't even know what I press. Oh, my whole... Wait, what? Okay. Go back to where we were, I guess. So Shift plus brings up this menu, and then G for move, R for rotate, S for scale, T for transform. So it's usually always G, R, or S. So I want to set all these, these. I've just realized this is before I added and then shift space, scale, shift space, S. And then you can scale it down holding shift to reduce the speed. So without shift is this, with shift is this, and we'll go down a bit. And now we need to do this again because the Blender software decided to crash on me. So let's try again. Okay. Let's put these in here. Again. Yeah, and here. Before we extrude this time, let's make sure all the dimensions are, the width of this little extrusion we got going on is correct. Down there. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Seems pretty good. Okay. and then edit mode in 3 to go into face select mode. Hold shift to select multiple faces all around the outside, and what we're going to do is press E to extrude. E, drag it out, then right click to put it back to where it was, and then we're going to press S. Actually, we're not going to press S, we're just going to drag out with the G tool and the green axis. We're going to drag out slightly. That's going to make our little extrusion again. We're going to save this time so we don't lose it. I'm going to press subdivide and have a look at our model. Subdivided, and boom, that's all she wrote. So it's time to start adding edge loops where we need to. So Control R, as we press subdivide, you can see it's adding it's increasing the hardness of our edges. So one of the basic principles of modeling. Add one here to stop that. Actually needs to be very tight, so we need another one there. Keep going back to our reference images. Next video, product animation. That's a good idea. I can do that. No problem. That's no problem. It's much the same. I mean, it's kind of a continuation of product rendering, product animation. Quite a lot of the time I'll be using the same scene as I use for product rendering to then go into product animation. But obviously you've got all the things like moving lights, moving cameras, and the best way to set things up. So that's a great idea, man. Thanks for the ideas. Anyone else has any requests or ideas, do let me know and I'll write them down, because that always helps. Hello Vivek, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing fantastic. So we're going to keep going here on what we have. Going into our front view, wireframe mode, set these edges and bring them up. As you can see, that they're not quite exactly how we want them, let's just say that. So a super simple little product here today, just a thermostat, nothing crazy. These are the vids I like to do YouTube tutorials and YouTube guides on though. What's up? Ask away, ask the question. Hit me with it, no problem. Any questions, anyone, just ask. I'll try and answer the best I can. And if I don't know the answer, we'll try find it for you, see if someone else in the chat has the answer. Or we'll investigate. No problem cannot be solved. Ask away art D3D. So right now we're just selecting all the vertices in edit mode. And we're reducing the size of this little extrusion we've got going on. It's too large at the moment. It's not quite accurate to what the model is. And then I'm also just need to check after this. If we check our reference images, it seems like at the moment our extrusion, so which may mean that we have to redo this extrusion part, which is it's what happens. Things happen, you know. You have to redo stuff sometimes. So as you can see, we've got this nice little extrusion going on here. We've got good topology so far with our model. always having, you always want quads, no triangles. You guys might already know that. I was studying UX design with Google. That's super cool, man. I've seen some of the qualifications they do online and everything. Do you think adding Blender skills can help building a portfolio? I think it definitely will. I mean, anything you do to add on to what you currently have always does help building portfolios. Each tool, each software has their own, has different things that they do best, and I think learning Blender is always a good idea mostly because it's free. There's almost no there's no cost, obviously, to learning Blender, and I don't think it will harm you in any way to add Blender skills to your portfolio. It depends what area of Blender too, because you don't have to learn all of Blender. You can learn certain areas of Blender. So I've seen online the Google courses. Is that what you're doing? I've seen them. They look good. The reason I've seen them is because I'm looking to, in the future, create courses online myself, and I was looking to what already currently exists. I mean, if you're doing UX design, you want to, it's representing the product in 3D form is always, I feel like, a good skill to have. There's one thing getting so let's say here we've got, the CAD drawings, we've got the dimensions, we've got the general design, but then also I feel like getting a 3D form, even if it's not perfect, like it doesn't have to be like super high quality, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to learn it to the point where you're making things so professional, but just having like this, right? It doesn't have to be like that. It can just be a simple example of the product, and just seeing it in 3D form can sometimes help certain people visualize the product. I feel they did these courses for next Google employers. That is correct. They definitely did, and I think it's a great way to potentially get within that industry. And I'm sure if you was applying for a job within Google, they would definitely take that into consideration. If you'd taken one of their personal courses, I'm sure they'd give you preferential treatment. So I think it's a great idea. I think anyone home should look into doing the Google courses. And it really depends what I'm saying with the UX design. If you want to learn how to represent products in 3D forms such as this, if you feel like that's not important, then you don't need to. But if you think that's something to add to your portfolio, which I think personally would be good, then go for it. Learn a bit of Blender, learn how to represent your products in 3D form, because it's a free software, and there's lots of content out there such as this to learn it. That's super cool though, man. All right, so any more questions, let me know. So we're going to carry on now. I'd like to add a little edge here, but I might end up removing these edges anyway. Like I said, this back bit doesn't really matter, so the product render is going to be from an angle like this. So really, like, all that really matters right now, the client may ask for a back render, in which case we'll solve that problem when we get to it. I'll do a follow-up stream where we actually model the back. But if not, then we don't need to do more work than was asked for. We're just going to render the front view for now. Okay, so looking at the reference images, going back to where we were, is So if I can see, trying to look from the reference images here, whether the extrusion is coming out from the top. Let's see. Maybe this one? Definitely is, right? I think it is. So I go simple mode, it's just easier. 3 for edge face select mode. There. But keep updated with what I'm doing, because I have a general idea to create online courses such as the Google ones for digital software such as Blender, After Effects, Photoshop and stuff. Once we get more traction on YouTube. That is the plan. Because I think they're great. Online courses, I think they're fantastic. Especially right now in the current climate. People can do it from home. And you can pick up qualifications you can put on your CV and portfolio. I think them Google ones are a great idea. Good luck with that. So we're going to re-extrude. So we're going to select all these faces on the edge. And press E again. This time we're going to press S to scale out. And as you can see now, if I add a bit more scaling, the extrusion is also coming out. If I add a edge here to tighten that up. It's coming out from these sides too. We can probably go back into here, select these again, which shows a better way to select these, but it kind of isn't. You just kind of have to deal with it. We're going to make them a bit smaller. I think what we had there was a bit too much. I'm also going to show you guys right now how, or very soon, how you can have multiple materials on a single object. Something that I actually took a while to learn because I never really bothered to look it up and I always made it difficult for myself. So definitely don't do that. So as you can see now, I can, if I go 1 for the front view, swap it around. This top panel or extrusion we have going on, I guess it's more of a border we call it, it's too big. We're going to go and wireframe mode, select all these vertices from here. We want these ones too. You want to make sure you take time when you're selecting vertices. You really don't want to select the wrong one. Up like that. Boom, this one's low for some reason. Let's just fix that. It's always a good idea to do something similar to that. 1 on the number keypad. We're eyeballing here, which is a way to say we're basically just guessing the size of this border, just literally copying the reference images. There's no dimensions for this. Always ask your client, and like if you are involved with UX design and you're in communication with a product renderer, the more dimensions you give, the more accurate your results are going to be. The less you give, the less accurate. Because right now it's not the end of the world. This is not a very complicated model, to be honest with you. But I have no dimensions for, let's say, the size of this border. Well, that might seem like a bit nitpicky. With that information, I could make this size of this border absolutely perfect. And that's what we want to strive for, right? Perfection. And now I can see just this side one is too large too. Making basic corrections here. After this, we want to we want to go through and have a look at the little cuts slash slits, I guess you'd call them. That looks a little bit more there. Little bit out using shift to finally alter that. Okay, so like I said, the render is going to be from here. So what we need to do now, if I take a look at the product, is what's the best view? Let's figure this out. Wait, it'd be this view. So add these little slits, I guess you would call them. So they're like, so the general process when you're rendering, modeling something, you have a problem, or it's not a problem. I have something to do here. I need to make slits, these cuts inside the model, and I know inside my head, based on experience, there's multiple ways to do this. And the first option I go with is not always going to be the correct one. Let's just say that. So what the best thing to do is make a new collection called backup, and this is before you make any big changes that you're not sure about. So everything up to this point I knew I could do, no worries, perfect, no problem. So I didn't need to do this, but now I'm starting to make these slits. I think, okay, what if I try add an edge loop here, and then remove the face, but then it looks horrible, and now it's difficult to remove the edges again because we're getting a little bit more detail on the model now. So we just copy and paste the model as it was in original form. Just drag it over here, call this backup, and a collection called backup, and just leave it over here for now. We've got the dimensions and the backup. So if anything goes wrong, we can fall back on that. Always a good idea. And now I'm going to do that idea. I think I'm going to do that idea I had. Although, so the problem is if I add an edge here, I add an edge here, here, and here. We have a lot of edges here going across and not many down here. And this can cause a problem, problems with UV mapping and texturing later on, because there's more geometry in this part than there is this part. The way I would solve this is I would add edge loops all the way down, or it's a model that doesn't need too much. There's not too much of a problem when it comes to UV mapping, which this one is definitely one of those. So let's have a look at this. So first of all, I've done them in the wrong place. So let's go back, Control Z way all the way back to here, and I can see it's actually supposed to be around about here, another one here, and another one here. Add edge there. X to delete faces. It's going to take some time to get right. Okay. Go back. Control Z our way back. Never go too far ahead. Faces, faces, faces. Okay, now one thing you can see from the model from the real life image is that it's wider here than it is here. We're going to solve that problem. We're going to take these edges and we're going to scale them up. These edges, we're going to scale them up. These edges, and we're going to scale them up. Now we're going to add edges here and here. And what that does is that if I add an edge here and here, it tightens up that edge, creating the design that we need. Let's make these smaller. And what we actually want to do is remove these edges to get the curve back on that side. Edge here, edge here, and what that does is now we've managed to create basically a straight cut into a curved, and that is just based purely on knowledge of 3D modeling in the past that I've been able to use there. Based on how edges affect your model, how adding edge loops affect your model. Looking at the model now from here, we can see we've got something very similar to what we needed to, but I can see that the distance that they're apart, if I take a view similar to our reference here, and I go into our reference, obviously they need to be way more far apart. Should be able to fix this without redoing, but if I need to redo, I will do that. So it should be a case of just selecting up, wireframe mode, always wireframe mode to select edges. Back into our reference images. There. Wireframe mode. Right, I'm gonna add a camera in. Start looking at that. So we're gonna add a new collection camera and light. We're gonna add in a camera. From here, we're gonna make it a 90 degrees 0 camera. As you can see, our scaling is very high, so just go all the way down. It's a good way to reference how big your objects are in your file when you add a camera like this and you realize how large your object was. So scale down. Okay, that'll do. That's more like it. Rotate 180. 7 to go in our top view. Put this in the middle. Scale this up. 0 to look in it. Shift F to move the camera. There. Move these behind the camera. There. Change this for right now 1750, more of a square. And then camera settings, focal length. There, okay. Okay. I'd say we need a little bit more distance between the edges, maybe get away with not using wireframe mode here, just so we don't select anything behind that we didn't want to. Okay, reference images again. I would like to nail down this shape a bit better than it currently is. What I'm thinking is actually what I'm going to do is, so, simple mode. All these faces and delete them. Select all these edges here. Now this is going to be kind of tedious, not gonna lie, but I want to box this up and actually have the back section as a different object. Top here, bottom there, bottom there. Wait one second. To keep good topology, this is what I'm doing. There. This is going to be annoying to do. Just saying this right now. Let's just do it. Mm, 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 mm. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Same with this side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. One there. It's to be worth it in the long run, I think. I hope. 1, 2. 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, 1, 2. Okay. Top. F2. Join. Bottom. Join. Bottom. Join. Bottom. Join. Top. Bottom. Bottom. Top, bottom, there, top. Definitely not the easiest way to do this. I really should have made them separate objects from the start. Bottom there. One there. There. Top. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to close up this hole that we have created here. But I don't want to mess up the topology at the same time by filling in a hole with vertices that will cross over and things. Okay. this way. We keep topology clean, which is very important. If you don't keep clean topology, your model won't look correct. You'll be kicking yourself later when you run into a problem because of the topology. So if we, nice. So if we subdivide, that shouldn't be any problems. Thank God. Okay, we're done now. So with that, so now that nightmare's done, what we can do is straighten them up. Go into product, front, and then let's bring it in our old version. Line it up, same spot. Add in a new cube here. 1 in edit mode. Wireframe mode, holding Z, selecting wireframe mode. Let's move the backup back to where it was. Now we have a separate object. This is why we've done all that. We have a separate object for the back section, meaning that we can change the curves and things of it without it completely affecting into this. Like that. This needs to go out this far because this is our original dimension box, which really shows. As you can see, it's pointing out a bit, but not really, to be honest. So what we do with that really doesn't matter. For the sake of just showing you how to model, I'll do a little bit of it. And yeah, we'll do a little bit of it. So let's go like this. Let's bring this in slightly. Subdivide it. So we got a ball. We got a ball. So let's get the shape right, but not these like details. We don't need to go into detail. We just get the shape correct. Because we're not going to see the back. bring it in. So I made a new edge. There, let's add a edge here. Add an edge, not there, not there, then there. One here. So I want to keep this shape. Don't want to lose this shape at all, really. Edge here. Trying to figure this out. Here and here. 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 Here and here. There. Perfect. Loosen it here. Loosen it here. Loosen it there. Increase here. Increase here. That's just got messed up where I've moved it. Like that. Nice. Okay, so we have to make a cut. Like we made the original one. On the top there. Don't mind going solid mode for this. Add another one here. Face. Edge. There. Edge there. Nice, and then it actually has a bit that goes out from there, which will be a separate object again. So alright, I'm eating chocolate, alright? Don't judge. There's another object. $90. It comes from here. Goes from there. It's in between these two. There and there. That goes out. And press E to extrude. Pull out, scale down, goes down a bit. Then it goes like this. Shooting again and scaling down again to like this. It's kind of like that. What are you making? We're making a thermostat. It's a product design going on here. As you can see, I'll show you the reference image. Reference images are in the bottom right. Here. There. This is for you urban does stuff. Here and here. But we're only rendering from one viewport. One angle. Got there in the end. So we're only doing it from this angle. So from doesn't actually matter too much about the back, what we do with the back for now, unless later on we have to render that. Edge here, shore this up. Here, here. But this bit is more curved. So we'll add an edge loop, but more like there. We'll also scale it down. Move it across. Okay, nice. Right, let's add more curve to here. Going into our side viewpoint, wireframe, and scaling downwards. So the general idea is that like a new collection called Atmos. There's actually going to be a wall here, 90 degrees like that. Probably cutting off this anyway, like to that potentially, or that. I haven't decided which yet. It's going to be a certain size. Down, across. That's a general composition of what we're going with. Now the top also does have grooves in it, much like these side ones. But I'm not going to make them because you don't see them from this viewpoint. Although if we were to do other angles, we'd need to do that though. Right, let's make this a shadow catcher. Now let's select, okay, this is going to be it's going to be quite frustrating to do, but we're going to need to do it anyway, so might as well get it done now. So as you can see from the render, the outer tab is metallic. So we're going to show now how to add separate materials for different parts of your object. So we're going to select all these edges here. Starting off with just this side, but we'll do all three. All these, up here, 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 and that's it. Okay, material tab, plus. So original is going to be this one, plus another one. I'm going to call it metal. Press assign on that. Base color is going to be, it can stay as it is for now, metallic all the way up and roughness all the way down. And then we're going to need to do the same thing, unfortunately, for this outer ring too. I might be able to get away with this. That. Select these faces here. Nice, 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 nice. We're missing some of these. Let's change them. Nice, nice, nice. Going to the side view. Top view, actually. See, we're not 100% straight. There you go. Back into this mode and like that. Okay. Then the original material is going to be called product. And as you can see, it's a slightly glossy white. And all of these faces so you can see now why we added UV seams before we added oh, excuse me, after we added all our geometry. Okay, another material. Of course, screen. This will probably have a screen on it eventually, but right now it's just going to have to be black. And we've missed some faces in there. There we go. Okay, where are we at? Here it is. All right, so a lot wider. So select. Let's actually stay. Yeah, stay in solid view. Go to modeling. Okay. Okay. Selecting all our vertices on the outside. Let's solve this problem. Okay. Same with. Oh no. No. Back. Okay. Getting that. Edges here across. These edges here. These vertices, I should say, sorry. Across. About there. Edges here. Across. Oh. One there, another one there, and there, another one there, and there. Okay, now go back on our thingy. Needs to be slightly high, and that's pretty much it. And obviously, one there, there. Okay. I know this is quite tedious, but we need to go up a tiny bit. Now looking at this, oh, that reference image. Go scale down the tiniest bit. Across tiny, a little bit. No dimensions for this, we need to eyeball again. It's the tiniest bit. Down. Up. Nice. Okay, nice. Pretty happy with that. Probably use the vertex group here. I don't actually usually use vertex groups. I don't even know how they work that well. Assign. Now if I go like this screen. Yeah, nice. Pretty self-explanatory. I actually never used vertex groups before, but kind of just guessed. So you select loads of vertices, press assign, and you select off them. Then when you press the vertex group as select, just selects them all again. So now I never have to pre-select all of them again. So that's nice. Shading, world, background, texture coordinate, light path, mix shader, mapping, environment texture. Vector, documents. Let's go into our HDRI folder. And one of my favorites to use for product rendering is this random one here. 100. Background. Background is camera rate. 2.5. Save. Go in here. Save. Select it. Hue, saturation in, saturation down to 0. Camera down. Obviously, you don't have the numbers on there, and not numbers, the also have nothing on the screen. We can add stuff to the screen if we want. Just checking the stream. Okay. So now let's add these buttons in. So the way that I intended to do this was, as you can see, they're pretty simple designs, and they're actually here, which is perfect, though the quality is very low. So That's not good. At all. Screen. Appreciate the likes, everyone, and the messages in chat. Makes more sense. Ooh, whoops. To have this here, right? Because it looks like I'm looking at it. Then the webcam. Where did the chat go? Ah, internet? No, internet, sorry. Let me just test. If I can just take a second to test labels. The alert, so we'll put up our most recent sub now. Okay, that's all good, that all works fine. Okay, nice. We're back. I'd like to make it so this chat stays up there all the time. How do I do that? Dashboard maybe? Let's check. All widgets, chat box. So when I'm doing stuff like typing and stuff, I want to have this view in here. Here you go. Always show messages. Save settings. OBS. Copy. OBS chat. Paste that in. If I add something new to the chat. There you go. So any chats from now will stay there, and then any nice. Alright, let's type away. Okay, so we're back, and we're gonna make up what we have. I'm gonna just, oh, not working. No, definitely not. Okay, let me just, so Otherwise, we might have to make one ourselves. Which is going to be a bit of a bother. Hey? 42 playbacks. Awesome. I'd love to see it. I can probably make these icons myself. Where'd it go? Canvas size 3K by 3K. Layer size 3K. Layer image to 500. We'll go 2000. Make another one. So that doesn't look very good, does it? What I actually need is the I'm gonna need the actual icons in a higher quality than this. So I've asked the client for this. I'm gonna need to stop to eat and walk my dogs anyway. So there will be a part 2. Gonna be a part 2 of this coming out. Is our icon thing gone? There, so I basically need this again, but higher quality. So I can actually use just play around with the lighting for a bit. Let's select our camera. Zoom in a bit more. We're moving around the lighting now to get more of an idea. Before we stop, next, after this, we'll be adding in the icons, playing around with the lighting more, and putting something on the screen probably. Probably have to put something on the screen, it'll be quite likely. Right, I've got a feeling you guys probably can see it too, that this doesn't feel one-to-one anymore, even though it is. Edge length. Even though it is, kind of weirdly feels like it's not. I think it's probably because we're missing the buttons. It's kind of like we're messing it up a little bit. Screen is too large. An edge loop here. Okay, now let's go 180. Let's try 3000 to 250 render. Let's see what it look like. Denoising. One sec. Save. Denoising needs to be on. Render on. Optic. GPU complete for the render engine. Open back up again. That's now rendering. This is what we need, right? We need a blue line. Or a blue and pink line. Going down there, I think. So while that's rendering, let's do that, shall we? I think that'll look cool. Let's do it, boys. So, and girls. Paste. Image. Crop to selection. Delete. No, not delete. Make a line here. Like that. Layer, new layer. Select that blue. Color it in. Delete. Like here. Layer, new layer. Shear. Like that much, maybe. Shear, image guide, new guide by percent, horizontal, no image guide, new guide percent, horizontal. Drop shadow. Pink. This is genius, this. We have to add a drop shadow to this. Delete. Drop shadow. Be pink. To the right. Export as. Documents theme. Documents. YouTube. Blender. Divider. into OBS, onto this, new image, divider, YouTube, then the divider, scale up, there, below that. Nice, boys. I like it. But what I want to do is actually just go filters, light and shadow, long shadow, length. Right, take that off. Delete that. Go just light and shadow, long shadow. Select none. Long shadow. Down, file, divider, OBS. There you go. I like this. So go back to our render now. So now it's complete. Let's go progress. Right, and save it as 1. The only problem I have, right, is like I like it and everything. It's all good. Obviously, we just need to have the buttons, and obviously the white on white kind of obviously makes it a bit whoa, you know, a bit like okay, that is that's a lot going on there. But we need the buttons. Obviously, without them, it kind of just looks not right. And then obviously on screen. But that is going to leave us right there. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we're going to be doing a updated one, either probably tomorrow, actually now, depending on when the client replies with the stuff that we need. So check out all my other videos, YouTube guides, and shorts. Thanks for listening.